Aquarius.
Hello Aquarius, this is your forecast for September 2015, and we're starting out with a month here. Your focus coming from your sun, the I am inner energy, is expressing itself through the 8th house, which has to do with shared resources, the money that you hold with someone else. It could also be banking or other financial institutions. It could be bonuses and whatnot. But it's also the house of intimacy, so it could be also a time now for you to deepen into your relationship and radiate and shine here. And speaking of relationships, we have Venus and Mars starting off top of the month here in your 7th house, which has to do with more long-term relationships. And just to mention relationships, I just had an email from this young man saying, I don't want a relationship. Why always talk about relationships? Well, try not to talk about relationships, and then you'll have somebody else saying, why don't you talk more about relationships? The thing is, it never tells you what to do. Astrology is always just the potential of what can open up for you if you grab or nab that window of opportunity. And so for those of you looking for a relationship, this would be it this month here for you single Aquarians, as both Venus and Mars here, they're in the sign of Leo. This is your opposite sign, so you could really find that other half, or you can find another whole person. For those of you who really feel that you're integrated as a whole being, you might luck out here. Now, being in the sign of Leo, it's from the heart, and so I feel any new initiations now in this area is something that can behoove you in the very long run. For those of you in a committed relationship, this is a time for you to circle in on your calendar, as well as having a date night, all right? There's playfulness. Think about the sun child. That is what Leo expresses. And so it's 14 degrees. Whatever other planets you have at 14 degrees in your chart, you will feel the vibration of both Venus and Mars play off on them and light those parts of your chart up just like a Christmas tree. Very, very well balanced energies, and you can use this in so many creative ways, Aquarius. We have on the 8th, that very same Mars there in Leo is going to trigger off Uranus, and Uranus is that wow factor, the unexpected aspect in our chart. For you, that's coming from the 3rd house. So somewhere in your closer community, it could be someone in your neighborhood, or it could also be your siblings, and it could also be in your communication, or also short distance travel, that something here is going to pop up positively, and it might also indicate something with your partner that this can trigger off on. On the 9th, we have a little bit of a challenge there, as Mercury, which is communication, is going to side up here with a square to Pluto. Now, Pluto can be quite intense, so when we have squares, it can be a little uncomfortable, and it is within our communication, that Mercury. However, though, if you back off, you will lose an opportunity. I always like to see squares as an opportunity for growth, because bottom line is that Pluto wants to transform, to improve, to bring forward, to let go of an old structure. So maybe something that has been a little annoying for you in the past, maybe something you've been holding close to heart, will manifest. It will come up, give you the opportunity to actually verbalize this. But it's a fast passing aspect, so you won't really feel too much from it. But then you're going to have a second chance, and that is because Mercury is going to retrograde this month on us on the 17th, straight through that of October 9th. So Mercury is going to come back around, and it's going to pair up with Pluto in that square again on the 24th. Now it's retrograde, so now we're really bringing situations from the past. It may not be that isolated situation there on the 9th, but now here's all those things that you haven't expressed. Pluto likes to stuff, right? So now it's going to come up, and it gives you a second chance to talk about that situation on the 9th, plus the other situations of the past, which is more the pattern. Now, Pluto can help you resolve and bring an end to it, to now transform it and make it new. That is the gift of Pluto, is all that rebirthing, the new beginnings that we get from it. And I'm feeling it's coming at a timely manner, because why? The following day, Mars, which is your drive, your action, your physical energy, your goals and destination, is squaring off on Saturn. Saturn's karma, Saturn's past. Saturn is what you and who and what you master in life. When they're square like this, well, couple that into what took place the day before. So you might have a few days here where you're working through Saturn's old karma, Mars wanting to go into the future, a new direction. Let's talk about this. This is Mercury, and Pluto says let's transform it. So we have this perfect storm, should I say, this perfect scenario to actually work through if you don't let it just go. If you do, well, then it will certainly come back around at a later point. It always does, and it doesn't always help just sweeping it under the carpet. This is why I always like to say the universe helps us by creating certain situations so that it can come into light. So it's a work through month, especially there towards the end. It is ending on a good note with a full moon on the 27th and 4 degrees in Aries. It is a fiery full moon. It is in your 3rd house for communication. It will be passing within the first 24 hours while it's still full over Uranus. So that might just open up a Pandora's box, but in a good way, and maybe bringing something unexpected to the surface. So I think you want to mark that on your calendar as well. When we're talking about the moons, we have the new moon here, Aquarius. It will be in your 8th house, same house where the Sun and Jupiter is, where we're looking at shared resources, the money that we either save or money that we invest, bonuses and so forth, commissions. This will be on the 13th. And it will be 20 degrees in Virgo, so if you have any other planets 20 degrees in your chart, this new moon will kind of light up that too. And it's the time that we put down our intentions. And what should your intentions be when it's in the 8th house? Well, it is also the house of intimacy. You might want to say, the way I feel right now, where things are really nice and comfy, and feeling the expansiveness of Jupiter taking place here, and this feels good. I want more of that. So let me put that forward for the months to come. That is a wonderful intention to have. And of course, it being in the sign of Virgo too, is listening within. You know, Virgo likes to perfect and to not just organize things, but they're really, really good about getting all their ducks in a row, improving themselves. So this new moon is wanting you to also improve this area of your life. Now, it is also time to write your abundance check. For those of you who still don't know how to write out that check to yourself, you can go on my website. There's a video there, and it will also tell you when to tear it up. You know, you could do that actually when you get to the full moon, or you can hang on to it until that next new moon. That's up to you. So we have a couple of events here, Aquarius. We have Venus, which has been retrograding all through August. So it's giving you a lot of time to go back down memory lane. It is turning direct on between the 6th and 7th, depending on where you live. And we have Mercury going retrograde between September 17th and October 9th. It will retrograde there in your 9th house. So you're going to be looking back over those things that you've been working at, researching. It might have to do with family that lives either out of state or out of country. Those of you who have any ongoing pending suits, you might come to feel perhaps there's going to be a delay or whatnot. We experience that when there is retrograde. And since it is the house of law, we don't really want to sign any kind of contracts, period, as long as Mercury is retrograde, unless we have to. That is always your personal choice. But when it is retrograde, things can turn around and it can mess it up and delay things. So that's why we say that. On the 17th, Saturn is moving out of your 10th house, Aquarius. So the last 2.5 to 3 years, you've been working really hard, structurally, should I say, on your career. You've had extra responsibilities and burdens. Now that is moving out of your career house. Now your focus over the next 2.5, 3 years is going to be on groups, organizations, and your life lessons will be how you can grow, how you can expand, how you can take on new responsibilities here in this area, and you'll see that your career area is now going to start lighting up. You will feel like the elephant is off your shoulder, the weight is off. On the 25th, Mars will be moving out of your relationship house and into the shared resources house. So it will now pick up where the Sun has been, where Jupiter currently is, and Jupiter is going to be in this area for a whole year until late next summer. And it's going to try to grow and expand the area of your commissions, of growing your savings, of how to perfect this area of balancing and sharing your resources with your partner. And Mars will now join that energy, and you will see how this is going to be more pinpointed. But it's at the end of the month. It's on the 25th. So more news on that in October. So if you haven't subscribed, you can do that now, so to make sure you will receive your October forecast and hear more about this wonderful Mars-Jupiter energy next month and how that can affect you on an intimate level as well. Then we also have Pluto here, Aquarius. Now, Pluto's been operating in your 12th house for the subconsciousness, and it's been asleep. So not too much has been going on there, but as it wakes up on the 27th, it's also going to get a jolt from that full moon, which is also on the 27th. Now these two will pretty much have somewhat of an aspect, not exactly when the moon is full, but within those first few hours. Yes, it will also touch upon Pluto there, and as it's waking up, I feel a lot of the communication that can come to you on this day is going to illuminate the things that you have been contemplating, thinking for a while. Might tie into your creativity, might tie into your spirituality, might tie into those things that you haven't really been expressing too much, just a little bit, like that Mercury-Pluto that we were talking about. Well, here now the moon being full in the 3rd house, which is ruled by Mercury, that's kind of like a Mercury-Pluto aspect in itself. And the full moon is squaring off on this Pluto. So I'm feeling, yes, here at the very end of the month, it's going to be quite powerful. So I want you to add in from the 24th and the 25th. This is when things are coming up to the surface. Add in the 27th when the moon joins in. And that's when your emotions are coming in. Till now, it's just been Mercury, your thoughts, your ideas, Mars, your direction, your goals, your physical energy, and then the conclusion is coming out full with your emotions as well. So I'm feeling whatever maybe this topic is for you is important. So therefore, this is why I'm spending extra time this month speaking about these challenges, and wanting you to turn it around in your mind to an opportunity, all right? Because this window of opportunity may not come back for a while, when they all line up here, and it is so that you can free yourself from what I feel might have to do with some old process, but also some old programming, okay? And when Pluto is in your 12th house, you're lucky, because what we're really talking about is reprogramming those old programs that we subconsciously just act upon, like through an autopilot, and we're not even aware of it, because our conscious mind is thinking, but the subconscious mind is acting. For you, especially, could have mentioned it to some of the other signs out here as well, but for you especially, because it's the 3rd and 12th house that's involved, I would like to perhaps suggest listening to Bruce Lipton on YouTube. Bruce Lipton is a scientist out there, fantastic to listen to, really good about giving you the insights how you can change and alter the program that you were grown up with, which keeps running and rerunning. And then especially if you've seen things in your life where there's self-sabotage and whatnot, where is it coming from, right? Or maybe somebody that you're with has a self-sabotage pattern. Well, then they should listen to it, and you can listen to it first and then give some insights to that person, because it will help them to actually rid themselves of some old habitual way of thinking. So that's healing, and Pluto is the ultimate healer of all healers, which will make everything brand new. But we have to be willing to let go of what that challenge is, or the repetitive voice that comes in. So this is more on the psychological, spiritual level, but this 12th house is all about spirituality. Uranus is in this third house that has to do with unconventional methods and ways, and you yourself being an Aquarius is pretty much, you know, a person who thinks outside of the box, thinking more the scientific way. So I think you will definitely come to enjoy it, and that's Bruce Lipton. Any of his YouTubes there, I feel, will come to behoove you. So yes, this is what we do have here for September. Thank you again for also following on the Horoscopes. I totally appreciate it. Really happy for all the nice and positive feedback. And I will see you in October. So go listen to your moon and your rising sign.